Welcome back, everybody, to the Quad. And in our Jerusalem studios today, we have missed you over the Chagim, is my wonderful co-host, Emily Schrader, who is a human rights activist and a journalist. And today, a very special guest co-host, Jonathan Elkhoury, all the way from Haifa. He is a commentator and an expert on Lebanon, and we really need your wisdom today.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack. Emily, let's start with you. Iran. We attacked.
Yeah.
It was an attack which I think was very clever because it kind of gives the mullahs a ladder to climb down from the tree and not have to retaliate, but yet really did a lot of damage, not to mention the humiliation of having women fighter pilots, really pulling down their pants, not literally. So how, as an Iran expert, Emily, because not only are you so well plugged in there, but this is your thing.
Yeah, I think what we saw was an incredible success, military success by the IDF.
Break it down for us.
So what we know so far, they've taken out at least 4 of the S-300 surface-to-air ballistic missile batteries.
Is that
completely non-operational?
What they were using to attack us?
No, that was how they were shooting. They were planning to shoot down. So their defense is pretty much wiped out. And we also wiped out additional air defenses for nuclear sites and several other sites, as well as I believe it was 12 different locations of where they actually mix the fluid to create solid fuel for the ballistic missiles.
Okay.
In addition to that, we targeted a couple of drone manufacturing facilities, also places that build parts of the ballistic missiles. So they're really in a bad position defensively. They have almost no defense right now. We did a really good job with that attack, but we didn't target any of the nuclear sites. We didn't target any of the oil sites or the sites that really are going to bring down the regime. And so what I've been hearing from the very beginning, from once these attacks even started, is why aren't they doing more from the Iranians? Which is funny because you would think it would be the opposite. They would be protective, but no, we're talking about a population more than 80% absolutely hates this regime, wants nothing more than this regime to be wiped out entirely. And so they're actually upset and disappointed by the limited scope of Israel's attack. And we'll have to see, if the Islamic Republic will make the mistake of attacking Israel again. If so, it's going to end very, very badly for them. As I said, they have no defenses left. But which is
amazing because it's a good preparation for another attack. And let's be honest, wasn't it the Americans that were holding us back from attacking the nuclear and energy sites? And also, I think the Iranians were threatening the Saudis that if Israel attacks their energy and their nuclear, the Saudis are going to get it.
Yeah, they were threatening multiple third-party countries that, supply energy to anywhere in the West. Which is a really interesting thing to see. If Israel attacks, then they're going to attack Saudi Arabia. But okay. But yeah, I think
or the UAE or other.
Yes.
Right. It's not a coincidence that this happened. The limited attack happened right before the U.S. election. I think we might see a very different reality if Trump wins. And I think Israel's in a good position right now to protect itself, even if Iran does respond, because Iran is, or not Iran, but the Islamic Republic has no defenses right now.
So a clever attack, but not enough to bring down the regime, which is really what we should ultimately be aiming towards. Jonathan, your country of Lebanon, you are somebody who was a refugee from Lebanon.
Yeah.
You ran away. Tell us a little bit about your story and tell us about how you see things now and if there's an opportunity for your country to fight out the Iranian regime from having it in its claws.
Yeah, well, my story really connects to what's happening right now in Lebanon and with, fighting Hezbollah's military occupation that is basically an Islamic Republic of Iran basically mission. It's it's like their mission.
Occupation.
Definite occupation.
They don't like to use the word over there, but it is an occupation.
Yeah, they only use it when it involves Israel. But the Islamic Republic of Iran is occupying Lebanon. It's occupying the Lebanese politics. It's occupying Lebanese territories, 100% that has no Lebanese sovereignty. And this is why this really connects to my personal story, because I had to flee Lebanon because of Hassan-Nahoum, because of Hezbollah, because they threatened us for working and wanting peace with Israel. That's what happened throughout the 70s and 80s and 90s in Lebanon, where my dad was part of what's known to be called the South Lebanon Army. That was a joint forces with collaboration with the Lebanese government and the Israeli government to create a force that will have a buffer zone between terror attackers inside of Lebanon towards Israel, but also to kind of make some sort of peaceful sites that wouldn't involve any wars in the future. And because you can say we lost the war, Israel decided to withdraw one-sidedly without doing any agreements with anyone. Back then, also Syria was occupying Lebanon.
Absolutely.
People knew that. Till 2005, Syria occupied Lebanon, and it's still occupying very much of Lebanon's politics.
And Islamic Republic is occupying Syria, essentially, let's be honest.
They are all
Yemen
connected.
and Iraq.
Yeah. So your story, a little bit to go, how old are you when you came here? And your family is Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel the persecution of Christians when you were growing up by Hezbollah, by the Islamic fundamentalists?
Well, because I grew up in the buffer zone, so we didn't have a lot of fighting. So we were protected because the IDF were there and also the South Lebanon Army, that they were working together side by side.
Right.
So I grew up having the IDF around me, like this is my childhood scenery, but we didn't feel at any point that we were threatened by them. They were our allies, they were our friends. We knew that they're there to protect us, and we're there because we're also kind of protecting them back. That was kind of the feeling that I grew up to. But I always grew up on the stories of my family that had to flee many times from their territories because in the 70s, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, led by Yasser Arafat, persecuted the Christians and the Druze and also the Shia Muslims of Lebanon because of who they are and because they didn't want the Palestinians to become a military terrorist organization.
Which they were, and they did.
Exactly. That's how it all started. The Palestinians, even in the 70s, did the Mul massacre, also Al-Aishiyah massacres of hundreds of Christians that they just slaughtered and killed and persecuted. And that's kind of the stories that I grew up on. And that kind of connected me a lot to October 7th, because the first thing that my mom ever said after October 7th, oh my God, this is the same thing that the Palestinians did to us in Lebanon during the 70s.
That's incredible.
And that really kind of took me down to earth with this existential, you can say, feeling of the DNA of survival that many of the Jewish community has because of the thousands of years of history of persecution. And that's kind of what really connected me to that particular story.
That's incredible. And Jonathan, you must have friends, family still there. Mm-hmm. Is there a little light of hope now that with everything going on, us defanging essentially the proxies of Iran, that there's hope for sovereign Lebanon?
It's not just a little hope for Lebanon, it's a huge hope because Lebanon is now in a turning point after the you can say after Hassan Nasrallah's departure from this world.
Yes, departure.
And
we exited him.
Good riddance.
Exactly. We made his retirement settlements come
we got
sooner.
him closer to his 70 young ladies waiting for him, yes.
We've reunited him with Suleiman.
Exactly.
True,
yeah,
true.
They loved each other
Khania.
so much.
And Khania, he must be having a ball.
And he has been followed by the rest of the head of Hezbollah terrorist organization in Lebanon. And that made a huge difference because suddenly you can see not just politicians that always spoke against Hezbollah, they were really few, but you saw a movement of people that started to speak out against Hezbollah's presence in Lebanon, against Hezbollah holding weapons, against the Islamic Republic of Iran control over Lebanon and over Lebanese politics.
Essentially 2 UN Security Council resolutions that were never respected.
Exactly.
1559 and 1301.
3 resolutions. Today in Lebanon, the main points that are being talked about, even before Israel started to demand that, it's amplifying and basically creating, like Emily said, Resolution 1559 that says that non-governmental organizations in Lebanon can't have
be militarized.
weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of them, and the only one that is still having that is Hezbollah. The second one is 1701. Hezbollah is 100% off of south of Lebanon and also disarmed completely because 1701 has inside of it the 1551 resolution.
Close,
And also in Lebanon are speaking about 1680 resolution.
Which is what?
This is with Syria. After Syria's occupation ended in Lebanon in 2005, there was this resolution that said that Syria needs to recognize 100% Lebanese sovereignty, but also to prevent any of weapons from the Islamic Republic to Hezbollah in Lebanon and basically securing the border between Lebanon and Israel. That's what Lebanese are talking about today. These three resolutions that their end tone is the end of Hezbollah's reign, military, and the occupation of Lebanon by the Islamic Republic.
And is there political leadership there to be able to take control, strong enough, their own army? What are the prospects?
Well, this is what we're kind of expecting to see. There's a lot of, you can see Najib Mikati, the Prime Minister of Lebanon, speaking about the Resolution 1701 and saying that Hezbollah needs to get back from the Litani River. You have also Nabih Berri, that is the head of parliament. He's the Shia head of parliament in Lebanon and the representative of Hezbollah, the highest ranked representative of Hezbollah in the Lebanese parliament, that said that we also should make Resolution 1701 happen and to have a ceasefire right now, and also to disconnect the connection that Hassan Nasrallah made between Lebanon and Gaza. Huge steps.
Do you think that he's just worried for his own skin?
That's one thing that he's really worried about himself.
Even if he is.
But
step in the right direction.
Also, Hezbollah lost so much regarding to military capabilities to attack Israel. And also, they're really afraid on their own coexistence as a military operation. Because let's be real, Hezbollah will always be part of Lebanon's politics. We will never be able to disconnect that. Yes.
Why?
Because the Shia community in Lebanon is a crucial part. It's a huge percentage of the community in Lebanon. Although not all of the Shias in Lebanon support Hezbollah. There is plenty of other imams and sheikhs that all the years went against Hassan Nasrallah and his position towards, the war and being a military operation. But you do have, people need to understand that at the end of the day, this Shia community is not going to go anywhere. But that's also what are speaking in Lebanon. Politically, be 100% Lebanese, but stop making Lebanon drag itself to wars and make decisions not for Lebanon's sake. This is what they're worried about, to make them Lebanese again.
So disconnect the connection with the Islamic Republic. And Emily, do you feel that in Iran there is today? I know that the son of the Shah is going around the world saying that he presents himself as a transitionary leader. Is that realistic? What is the prospect of the day after, if, please God, the day will come soon?
I mean, I can't speak for the people of Iran. I can't tell them what they should or shouldn't do. Pahlavi is an option. I think there are probably other options as well. He seems to be the most popular as it stands today. In any case, he himself advocates for a referendum for some form of constitutional monarchy, not a straight monarchy like they had before. But I think when it comes to the population, they are ready. Unlike, say, for example, you see a lot of people in the West saying, how can we support regime change? Look at what happened in Iraq. Iran is not Iraq.
Of course.
Iran is much, much, much more developed. They're a more educated population. They've already had many decades of progress of relative freedom, especially for the Middle East under Pahlavi. That's why they want it. That's what they want to go back to. And so I think anyone comparing it to Iraq and American efforts to democratize Iraq, it's a total false comparison. I think the day this regime falls, you will have an opportunity to see a completely different reality in Iran, some form of democracy or hybrid democracy, I hope. But ultimately, that's up to them to decide.
You know, it's incredible. We just yesterday commemorated the official year of the 7th of October. The 27th of October was a commemoration. And I just feel that a year ago, it's like the Middle East has changed. We were pushed down, and then we kind of came out, fought back, and we seem to be changing the entire region. I mean, if only Sinwar Mahshama would have ever thought that what he started would essentially create the downfall of the Islamic regime. Is this how this story ends, Emily?
I mean, I sure hope so.
Yeah, we all hope so, yeah.
With a free Lebanon, a free Yemen, a free Iraq, a free Iran.
This is now you can say the spring of the Arab world.
Yeah.
This is hopefully a new era for the Middle East. And you mentioned last year we were in so much different reality. Also, Arab commentators from all across the Arab world, when they speak about how Israel attacked the Islamic Republic, they say, if you asked me 1 year ago if Israel would be capable to do that, I would tell you no, because you would have all of Iran's proxy attacking it immediately with thousands of missiles. But now we're 3 days after the attack, and the Islamic Republic or their proxies have never even shot one missile to say this is for the Israeli attack on the Islamic Republic. And that tells you the whole story of how Israel is now, you can say, ruling the skies of the Middle East, but also strongly wise. This is how Israel have became like the phoenix.
It's the only way to be.
And become respected also.
It's the only way to be in this region. Well, please God, when we meet next week, we will be discussing how maybe the Iranian regime came down.
Yes, let's hope. Well, in January 2023, I contacted Hooman Khalili, who is a California-based artist originally from Iran. And together with Fleur, my wonderful co-host here, we launched a project across Israel to show support for the Iranian people all across the state of Israel, in Jewish communities and Arab communities all over. We had a goal of putting together 18 different murals showing support from the people of Israel to the people of Iran. And this week, Hooman unveiled the 18th mural. It's taken about a year and a half, and we are very, very honored to have a few moments to speak with Hooman today.
Hooman Khalili. It's actually incredible that we're coming full circle, because your story in Israel actually starts with Emily and myself.
It does. Yeah, no, it's a miracle. You know, when we unveiled that first mural, January 9th, 2023, the first Woman Life Freedom mural in the Middle East, did you think it was going to end that day? Or
yes.
Did you honestly?
Okay, I didn't think it would end that day, but I didn't know that we were going to get to 18, especially after October 7th.
I know. It's crazy because there were 7 done before October 7th, and then the next 11 were done after October 7th. And we all know how difficult it is to get in and out of Israel right now.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible. And the fact that, me being a Christian, the good Lord created a way for me to keep getting in and out.
It's called Elal, by the way.
And now the 18th mural is going to be unveiled today.
Amazing.
At First Station. And the 18th mural is a collage of all of the other murals and a few that never got unveiled, or including King Cyrus in this one as well.
Wow. But Hooman, tell us a little bit about your backstory. You are Iranian.
Yes.
Your mother ran away. Tell us a little bit about you, your mom, and your story.
Of course. So, born in Iran. My mom escaped with one suitcase, $5,000, 3-year-old boy in 1978.
Wow.
We came to the country, America as illegal aliens. Through a series of crazy miracles, we got a green card and we were adopted by the Presbyterian Church. I was raised in church. And one thing sort of led to another. And then the pandemic hit and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was in radio. I left radio because we lived in a time where you couldn't say anything without everyone being offended. I don't know how that...
We still do.
We still live in that time.
And then next thing I know... I helped unveil a mural in San Francisco. The picture of that mural went viral. Emily Schrader saw it, tagged you in the post. I reached out to you.
Let's do one in Jerusalem, and we did.
We did. And I remember our first conversation. In Israel, Hooman, we don't do anything over the phone. If you want to do this, you have to fly to Israel, meet me, I have to look in your face.
Yep.
And then, lo and behold, 26 days after I met you, the first mural.
I honestly just didn't think you were going to come through, raise the money. You did it all, and we just helped facilitate.
Well, I just want to say, as this 18th mural is being unveiled, a sincere, genuine thank you. I mean, you guys opened the doors for me to be here. You gave me this opportunity. And to this day, I think these murals fight anti-Semitism in a way that nothing else in the world seems to do.
You really believe in this kind of art or protest through art or statements through art. which I really love because I think that it really does make a change. But I remember when you're telling me we're going to bring down the Iranian regime with his murals, I'm thinking, this guy's crazy. Listen, we might get there.
Yeah.
We might. And I'll tell you, in 2023, the film that won Best Picture at the Sundance Film Festival, Best Documentary, is a film called The Porcelain War. And The Porcelain War is about all of the art that was born out of the Ukraine-Russia war. I'm literally doing the exact same thing here in Israel. And my hope and my dream is we do a documentary of this. Starring you two.
No, we're not going to say no.
I don't know about that.
You don't know. Come on.
Well, as long as we get to choose who plays us.
No, you're in it yourselves.
All right.
You're
okay.
so beautiful. I need you on camera.
All right, we'll agree.
If you insist.
Hooman, it's really wonderful, the activism that you're doing. How is it received back in California, which is where you're from, San Francisco, which has become a hotbed of crazy progressive thought?
And also, how have Iranians responded?
Yeah. So let's start with the Persians around the world.
Yes.
They're overwhelmed. They're so happy. Whenever an Iranian delegation comes here, we take them to see the Woman Life Freedom murals in Tel Aviv. They start crying. And it even happened with this last delegation. Now, I live in San Francisco, the San Francisco Bay Area, and it's the woke capital of the world. Yeah. And so people are very torn or they're very angry when I do this. And I've lost a lot of friends. But I will tell you one quick story. When that first mural was unveiled, right when I landed in Israel, a Persian woman called me from the Bay Area and said, "What are you doing, Israel? Why are you there? I can't stand Israel. I can't stand the Jews." She's screaming at me on the phone. And I said, "Listen, I just landed. If this project even comes together, I'll call you back. You can yell at me for 1 hour." She goes, "I know you're going to meet the vice mayor. Someone told me." Oops. So I said, okay, I'll call you back if it happens. Take care. And I hung up. The mural goes up. I call her. And she picks up and I said, "Hey, the mural is up. You can yell at me now." And she's silent for 45 seconds. And after 45 seconds, she says, "I can't believe how beautiful that mural is. I can't believe the Jews are standing with the women of Iran. I can't believe the state of Israel is like this. Why am I so angry?" And for 4-5 minutes, she's processing. I'm not saying one word. And she said, "Thank you. Thank you for the mural. I'm sorry for yelling at you." And she hung up. I've never heard from her since.
Oh, my God.
And a story like that happens literally every time a mural goes up.
Really?
That's amazing.
So I have at least 18 of those stories.
18 new supporters.
Well, Hooman, it's really incredible. I think it's just creativity at its best. You are a creative, you are a designer, and you're using it to give voice to the voiceless. And I think that if we can conclude something for the last year is that Iranians and Jews are standing on the right side of history, fighting together against evil. And you're expressing that in such a beautiful way. So thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to thank you because without your vision and without your tremendous effort on an ongoing basis to do this project, I don't think that much of the Israeli society would understand why this is important or how important it is. I've had so many people be like, what? What is this about? They didn't even know. They didn't understand. And only now, as things are starting to come up with Iran, they're starting to understand that there's a difference between, the Palestinian people, for example, and the people of Iran, who have every historical reason to stand with us and have from practically the beginning of time, it seems, at least from the time of Cyrus the Great.
Right.
Which actually is Cyrus the Great Day is the day that we're filming. Fun fact. So it's fitting that we're speaking about Iran, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
So thank you for this.
Oh my God. Listen, I am so grateful to you two. I know I started by saying this, but thank you for the opportunity and thank you for trusting me. And there's never been a time where either one of you called and yelled at me and said, "What were you thinking with that design? How dare you? Those colors, that shape, whatever." Every time you guys have looked at the mural and said, "That's amazing. Thank you." And so from me to you, I hope even though the 18th mural is done, we still do something amazing together.
We could go up to 26. Thank you so much, Hooman. And now for our very popular segment, a segment which has now left the walls of our studio and is going mobile. We have incredible people doing this from their phones, famous, well-known influencers who we're going to be incorporating into our Scumbags of the Week segment. And you know what, Jonathan and Emily, we say this every week. There's just so many to choose from. Yeah. So as you're a newbie on our show, we want to start with you. Who is your scumbag of the week, Jonathan?
Okay, I did have to choose because there's so much. But I mean, this week, I felt that it has to go to Dan Bilzerian.
Who is that?
That's a great question. But he has 1.5 million followers only on Twitter, as known as only on X, that known as Twitter.
Yes.
But listen to what he tweeted just yesterday evening. Okay. Transgenderism is a Jewish theology. Ooh. The Torah has 6 genders and the Talmud recognizes 8. The first transgender clinic was opened by a Jew in 1919. They want you to blame the Democrats, but this previous came from the Jews. I mean,
what isn't our fault, really?
First of all,
seriously,
we need to update Queers for Gaza that they need to say thank you to the Jews
for inventing transgenderism.
Amazing.
This could work in our favor.
Yeah, exactly. He came to curse, but he ended up blessing.
Well, I'm not sure.
Does it translate to English well from Hebrew?
Right? Yes. The blessing and the curse.
Yeah. And second of all, it's so amazing to see from the beginning of, October 7th till now, how much people have become expert on the Talmud.
Oh, I know.
And people have studied it for thousands and tens of years. They dedicated their lives to study the pages of the Talmud and to try and kind of, talk about the differences between the different types of, everyone has his own opinion. And then these scumbags comes here and says, no, this is what the Talmud says. So this is how Jews are acting right now.
Why does he hate us so much? Who is this guy, Emily?
He's a colleague of Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers who are now being... I don't know if they've been formally charged yet. Or they're still being investigated. Worse, sex trafficking.
Yeah.
And also alleged rape, I believe. There's a few different cases. And also Dan has some against him. He had some previously for domestic violence, I believe. A lot of drug
So
use.
a wife beater drug addict is throwing shade on us.
Exactly. With millions of followers.
And you see the Islamists all celebrating it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So they
also Candace Owens has recently aligned herself with Dan.
Of course.
And Andrew.
She aligned herself with Hitler, so why not?
Why not?
Great scumbag. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Emily, who's yours?
So my scumbags this week are UNIFIL.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Now, you would think that UNIFIL, which is the peacekeeping force for Lebanon, which is peacekeeping, sure, that, they were established in order to preserve peace in that region, to keep Hezbollah from attacking the state of Israel, to keep them from the wrong side, the southern side of the Litani River. Unfortunately, they have done nothing like that since their inception. They haven't enforced any of the UN resolutions, not 1701, not 1559. In fact, as we've seen in recent days and weeks, they've actually allowed Hezbollah to use some of their positions, including using their equipment, security cameras, things like this, to pursue their terrorist aims against the state of Israel. And then they have the audacity to criticize Israel for defending itself, which is what we've seen in recent weeks with the condemnations from, Italy, France, a few other countries condemning the heroism of UNIFIL peacekeepers who are refusing to leave their positions. Never mind the fact that they've done absolutely nothing for since their inception, they've done absolutely nothing against Hezbollah. But yeah, now they're heroes, sure.
They're only there because the UN Security Council hasn't removed them.
That's right.
Not because they want to stay or because they're being useful. They should just get out the way.
Yeah. And the more funny thing about it is that they interviewed someone from UNIFIL, their spokesman or whatever, and he said, we saw that Hezbollah are close by to our military positions, but we couldn't do anything because it's private property.
Yes, private property.
They didn't even took a note and send it to say Hezbollah has been using this territory and this territory in the reports for years. Even though Hezbollah attacked their own people, they haven't acted. They haven't even listed it in the reports. They just said unfriendly reaction.
And I just want to add one more thing that's really important. The U.S. taxpayers have paid $2.6 billion to UNIFIL since 2006. $2.6 billion, and they have done absolutely nothing. And every year they renew this mandate. They keep asking for more money from all the international donors, but primarily the United States. And that's who is paying this bill, for them to sit there and do nothing while complaining about the state of Israel doing their job for them. So they're my scumbags of the week.
Very worthy scumbags. They're completely useless, but I think it's the meta scumbag here is the UN.
Yeah.
Whether it's UNRWA or whether it's UNIFIL, they're either at best useless, at worst terrorist, complicit with everything bad that's going on. So wonderful scumbag of the week, UNIFIL. Absolutely. Totally agree. So my scumbags of the week are JVP, Jewish Voices for Peace. I don't know if they're Jewish. They're certainly not.
Jewish.
Yes,
Voices
Jewish.
for Peace.
Or as a Jew, as I call them. Basically, 2 days ago, they shut down Grand Central Station, 200 of these pathetic, spotty idiots. And they went to call for ceasefire against Israel, calls against Israel. Some of them wearing a kippah that they never wore in their lives just to be tokenized. They tokenize themselves as Jews. And honestly, these are the people that bother me more than anybody else. The enemy is the enemy. But your own people, this type of stupidity, self-hatred, internalized anti-Semitism, I will never get over this. And in fact, I'm considering writing a book about the psyche of the capo but it's worse than capo because capos, in a way, their lives depended on it. They were
it was
striving
a question
for
of survival.
What are these people doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing? What are they? Social survival? To remain, the cool kids?
It's moral narcissism,
Moral narcissism. I like that.
Yeah.
JVP, New York, they call themselves the New York chapter. 200 of you pathetic idiots. Social narcissists, did you say?
Moral
narcissists.
narcissists.
You are moral narcissists are my scumbags of the week. And this week, we have a special scumbag coming all the way from Hollywood with our friend Jonah Platt.
Hi, Fleur and women of the Quad. It's your friend Jonah Platt here in Los Angeles on the set of my show, Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. And even though it's a little off-brand for me, I'm here to bring you the scumbag of the week. This week's scumbag is actress Amandla Stenberg, who you might remember as having sung at President Biden's inauguration. So, big profile. This week, our scumbag Amandla reposted something on her Instagram stories that said, "The number one cause of child death on earth is Israel. Historically, there has never been such a level of bloodshed on earth targeting children." So much scumbaggery in one post. First of all, obviously, the number one cause of child death on earth is not Israel. It's not this war. It's completely erroneous, completely false, completely demonizing. Amandla, this is something called blood libel, which maybe instead of posting this, you could use your phone to Google and learn a little about how spreading violent, hateful, wrong ideas about Jews leads to Jews being harmed and being unsafe. Second of all, historically, there has never been such a level of bloodshed targeting children. Amandla, have you heard of the Holocaust by chance? In the Holocaust, 1.5 million Jewish children were systematically murdered in gas chambers, shot at close range by guns, grabbed from their mothers and smashed against walls. The kind of barbaric stuff, that Hamas did to Jews and Israelis on October 7th, which you clearly don't seem to care anything about. And the fact that you think Israel is targeting children and not responding to this terrorist jihadist death cult, again, is grossly demonizing the one Jewish state in their fight for survival against a group who has said they will continue to attack over and over and over again. So, Amandla, you're probably a nice person and you mean well, but you don't think critically. And if you don't do any better, we're just going to assume that you have an axe to grind against the Jewish people. Stop spreading blood libel to your 2.2 million followers and spreading hate around the world. It's not a good look, and it makes you a scumbag.
Because we're positive people, always trying to see the glass half full, we always end our show with our heroes of the week. So, Emily, starting with you.
So my heroes this week are the Iranian people who risked actually their well-being and livelihoods to send photos or videos of what happened, actually. So the Islamic regime actually rolled out new restrictions saying that anyone who sends photos or videos of the attack of Israel on Iran will be subject to 1 to 10 years in prison. And that is assuming that they won't be tried in their courts as traitors or, traitors of the state, which in which case they would be tried with the death penalty. So yeah, they took tremendous risk letting out the very limited number of, videos and photos that we've seen so far. Most of the information we've seen on Israel's success in this operation came from satellite, and it's still coming in.
Wow.
But the stuff we did get from the ground, from the few Iranians who were able to get some materials out despite the limitations on internet and despite the restrictions, I really commend them. They're taking a tremendous risk. Very, very brave people. And I thank them for speaking out.
God bless them. I hope we can liberate or help them liberate themselves very, very soon. Jonathan, did you have
I
trouble
love that you called me Jonathan.
Why? Did you have problems finding a hero this week?
Well, yeah, you can say that we're so surrounded by scumbags.
Oh, God.
That it's always hard to pick out the great people that we see online or like in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to choose my hero of the week this week, or you can say the hero of the last few months of mine, particularly. Okay. And her name is Bellamy Baluchi.
Oh, I love Bellamy.
Yeah.
It works well with your scumbag because it's like the opposite side of the coin.
Complete
So
opposite.
tell us who Bellamy is.
So Bellamy is an amazing South African transgender woman that is a Jewish also convertee, you can say.
Convert.
Convert. And she's been doing an amazing job since the beginning, really putting herself out and speaking out in favor of Israel and the Jewish people. And she suffered a lot of consequences because of that. She was let free from her agency, and she suffered a lot.
She's
of
a dancer.
Yeah.
And she was kind of gotten, the agency said that you can't be a Zionist and part of their agency?
Yeah, that's something that really made me kind of say, what is going on here? Like how crazy we got to be to a place where people are fighting against terrorism and they are the ones that are being excluded out. That shows me a lot about how moral
narcissism. Yeah.
Moral narcissism. Word of the day.
Yeah.
Well, the decay, I think,
exactly.
of that type of thinking in that society.
Yeah. So Bellamy's definitely stood there strong with her head high and continued to be an amazing
South
woman.
Africa.
Yeah.
Well, she's in New York, but she left South Africa and she's now been excluded from all her progressive spaces. She's a beautiful advocate for Israel and hopefully we'll be moving here soon.
Oh, I
hope so.
Well, a worthy hero.
Definitely worthy hero. So my hero is, I think, all of our heroes this week. And that is firstly, the incredible, talented pilots, brave pilots that carried out this precise attack that not one casualty, not one innocent casualty. People can't understand how we do this. But for me, it's even more beautiful and more, healing that some of these fighter pilots were women.
Symbolic.
Symbolic. So these women, these badass women who fly fighter planes were there and were attacking the very regime that kill, rape, isolate, and take all the opportunity away from women. To me, that's just a beautiful, beautiful, how do you say it?
It's coming full circle.
Karma.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing I've seen online, a photo of one of these female fighters.
Yes.
They published the blurry hair and stuff like that. But you can see
her hair.
Her hair that is she kind of put it in
braids.
Braids.
Yeah.
But then someone said that she's originally curly hair.
Oh.
And then they wrote, do you know how much dedication it needs for a curly hair woman to braid her hair? That means she's serious. And she was definitely serious.
Well, as a previous curly-haired women until I had my 4 kids and the curls fell. I can tell you it's difficult. Yeah. And I'm sure the sister's got her nails done and everything, because this is the type of women that this country produces. We're doing it all. Who run the world? Girls. So
and
really,
gays. And the gays.
And of course the gays. Absolutely. So, Jonathan, really thank you for being here with us. It's been a real pleasure to give us the incredible insight that you have, your very brave story of you and your family, and come back.
I will, definitely.
And thank you all for tuning in again. JNS TV, The Quad, will be back next week.